is Difficult, the podcast that brings you all the finest gaming reviews and talks about bullshit about gaming and all that. I'm trying to get my dogs not to knock over the camera. And welcome. I am your co-host, Lord Yeshua. My name is Josh. We're on Paul Ryugami-san's channel right here. And we got Zach, another letdown, our newest addition to the force. He's a full-fledged co-host now. Welcome aboard, my dude. And yes, fond farewell to Colin, 4Gs. Shout out. Is he on the milk carton or no? No milk carton.
I don't have the milk carton up.
Oh,
I could probably get it up. Let's see.
It's not worth it. He's dead to us. Just kidding.
Boom, he's on the milk carton.
You're there. Why not? Might as well for the animation's sake. Yes,
got
let's talk about video game related things. And we played some games this week. I have some fun things to talk about. I'll pass it off on to Paul, who MCs this shit.
Yeah. We played some video games this week. I played some video games. 2 games that I was very happy to play. I played Onimusha 3 on Samurai Saturdays, and that was a hell of a lot of fun. And I also played Immortals Phoenix Rising. I'll talk about Onimusha real quick first. I just finished Onimusha 2 last week. So I had actually bought Onimusha 3 and I thought it was going to be used copy. They sent me a brand new unopened copy.
Damn, that's mint.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I cracked that open. I ripped it onto my computer and started playing that. And you know what's crazy is like when I was a kid, like Onimusha 2 is one of my all-time favorite games. I kind of didn't really give Onimusha 3 a chance.
When did this game come out?
In 2004, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for the PlayStation 2. I absolutely freaking love that game, okay? Like, I've been playing it, and it plays so much better than Onimusha 2, just not having to deal with the tank controls. I really thought that like the graphics wouldn't hold up because it's the first time in the series where they went away from the pre-rendered graphics or pre-rendered backgrounds rather. And honestly, it looked freaking fantastic.
That's awesome.
Really good. Did. Like I was watching your stream. It was it looked like a lot of fun and the graphics were gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell,
well, you know what though? I did the one thing that the caveat to that is this. I upscaled the graphics in the emulator to 1080p.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So
you can't really. That's not the original look, really.
So the I mean, it doesn't do anything to like. It doesn't change the textures. It doesn't change the polygons. Like all it does is up the resolution, right? So the graphics are still natively what they were. It just is more clear, and it looked great, honestly, for a PlayStation 2 game. Holy shit. So I am very pleasantly surprised with that. The other game that I played, well, and I'm also gonna finish Onimusha 3 on stream, in case anyone wants to follow that. But the other game that I played, and I'm playing this off stream, is Immortals Phoenix Rising.
What's that like?
It's really fun, honestly. It's really fun. It is impossible.
Now you're poking the bear, Josh.
Okay, here's a disclaimer. I'm going to talk about Breath of the Wild just a little bit. I'm going to be nice. It's impossible not to compare this game to Breath of the Wild. Yeah. It's impossible because honestly, it's a Breath of the Wild ripoff in a major way. Like almost every major mechanic in the game is straight from Breath of the Wild, including like the little like puzzle dungeon thingies, the shrines. Right from Breath of the Wild.
Everything,
oh my god, almost everything. There are definitely changes, and to be honest, I like it better. It's a more fun game. They do a better job of like conveying story. Almost every time you hit like a major area, there's story and there's narration and there's constant narration. It's Zeus and is it Prometheus? I think it's Zeus and Prometheus that are narrating the story. Cool. Throughout the entire game, and they're constantly chiming in to kind of keep you involved with the story, even if you're not even like doing like anything major. Like they'll still chime in here and there. So that makes it really interesting. It makes you want to keep playing it for the story. The combat mechanics, I will say, are not as good as Breath of the Wild. I think Breath of the Wild does combat a lot better. But they're not bad. So like I can't really complain about the combat. What else? Like I said, the little shrine type things are almost identical to Breath of the Wild, in a lot of ways. Some of your powers are very similar as far as like, picking up things and moving, yeah, like the Magneto powers.
I forgot that was wow, I forgot so much.
The glider, you get these wings, they work the same. Climbing things works the same. You even upgrade your stamina the same way you do in Breath of the Wild. Wow. Like I said, it's next to impossible not to compare the two. But if you asked me now, I would much rather play this game than Breath of the Wild.
Damn.
Is that because of existing assumptions about what what we expected from Breath of the Wild versus having almost no expectations about Immortals Phoenix Rising?
That's the thing. This did come out afterwards and was able to be like, okay, here's some refinements upon the original formula. Yeah. Like able to see mistakes.
Guess what? No weapon durability. Hey. And you can upgrade your weapons that you have, which is really cool.
Sounds like a flawless one.
Yeah.
Sounds like a no-brainer.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, we do rag on Breath of the Wild a lot. I do think it's actually still a good game.
Yeah. I got myself in trouble this past week. I messaged you guys. I got myself in trouble this week for defaulting to podcast mode, where we tend to trash on Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily, I would say. It's kind of a joke, but
it's kind of a meme.
Yeah.
It is kind of a meme.
I have a friend who had only played Breath of the Wild. It was her only Zelda game. And I immediately said, that's not a Zelda game.
Damn.
I was like, I should not have said that. That was a mistake.
Made her cry.
She got mad at me, and I was like, yeah, no, you're right to get that is an acceptable reaction. I apologize, but you really should play Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
I just think I don't think it's a bad game, and I think that it does have some Zelda elements in it, enough to call it fairly. If you're gonna be really true, like, it is a Zelda game. It's not what you would think of as a Zelda game. So for a first time player getting into the series, I wouldn't recommend it. I would say play that one last.
Yeah.
I would say if it is your first one, it's gonna be hard to look at the other ones because it's like totally changes your perception of what it would be.
It's so wildly different from all the other games. You're gonna pick up another Zelda game expecting that, and you're like, wait, what is this? This is nothing like Breath of the Wild.
It kind of ruins it for you a little.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about Breath of the Wild. Phoenix Immortal Rising so far, I'm not very far in the game. I beat the prologue, which is actually pretty long. The prologue took me probably 2 hours.
Nice.
And then I did a couple things in the main game, got to like the main area where you do your upgrades, like kind of like the hub area. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's just a fun game to pick up and play. And like, it just, I think it kind of fills or scratches that itch, where other games may have not.
Yes. Other games that we can't think of the name of.
I forgot the name. Anyway, so yeah, those are the games I played this week, and it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing games.
Nice.
What'd you guys play?
You go first. You go. Okay. Yeah. Mine is nothing crazy. You go.
Sure. So I'll build off the sort of gods and goddesses thing. I played Hades. Yep. RPD bought it for me and said, go play this because now you can start to talk about games on Adam's Discord again. And I'm like, I talk about games anyway, and nobody listens, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But I started playing Hades, and I can't stop playing Hades. Game is great. It's so much fun and incredibly addicting, and it's very much one of those, just one more run. And I'm playing it for 2 more hours. Oops.
I need to get it.
I need to get it, yeah.
It's super, super fun. And I'm currently at the top level, and I can't beat the final boss. What I presume is the final boss. But that's fine. Like, that's in less than 10 hours of playing. Like, that's
So, and
I'm okay with
from what I understand about the game, you're just kind of scratching the surface. Like, once you beat it, like, you haven't actually beaten it. You still have to go back through and do it. So that sounds really awesome.
Yeah,
I'm excited to try it.
What I'm finding is, like, you set like micro goals for yourself, and then you achieve that, and you're like, okay, well, that just opened up this many possibilities. Now I need to set this goal. It does keep you coming back, and the experience does change every single time, which is really cool and predictable to some limits. I mean, I can reliably annihilate the first wave of enemies and most of the first boss without, and oftentimes the entire first dungeon without dying once.
Nice.
Or without even taking damage in some cases.
Yeah.
So it does scale really fast, and it does everything it can to keep you motivated. So that's really cool. And I'm looking forward to doing watching a bunch of videos on one screen and playing a bunch of Hades over the next couple of weeks so I can get my recertification paperwork done.
Nice.
I also I finished Majora's Mask off stream.
Yes.
Game is amazing. Oh my goodness.
So incredible. How good is the ending?
Oh, so good.
The ending is so good.
And I played it through I didn't use the Big Damn Hero Mask.
Yes.
The Big Damn Hero Mask.
And then I went back and did all the bosses with the Big Damn Hero Mask, and I was like, oh my god, this is just cheating mode.
Yeah, exactly. It's
the
so
only
easy.
the only one that's not is the fish, because you're underwater and you can't put the mask does nothing. You just float.
Yeah.
Which
you
is
can't
fine.
even shoot your bow. Yeah. So you kind of want to be regular Link. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and whatever, it was good. But yeah, I had an absolute ball playing that. I definitely was up until 2 a.m. several days yelling at it.
Yeah.
Which drove my wife crazy. But that's that. And on stream we got through the Arkham Knight DLC and on into Arkham Asylum, the very first Batman Arkham game, which I'm surprised how much I still remember. It's been many years since I played that game, but I still remember most of it. So that's been really fun too.
Arkham is nice. Yeah.
Josh, did you play any games this week?
I played Chrono Trigger, the actual cartridge.
Nice.
So good. Yeah, game is just so good. Truly amazing. Like bare bones of the RPG industry, in my opinion. Like sets like the backbone for basically what a lot of good RPGs are based on. Yeah, it's amazing. I can't believe how much they did at that in 1994. Honestly, it's like a really awesome RPG. Anyway, I don't know. I think the time-based system became like so much more, and is kind of like the introduction of JRPGs. Like this game specifically kind of made JRPGs a thing, where like you're in an open field and like you're not moving exactly, but like the time passes as you select your things. So like everything is kind of based on that real time, which is kind of how Final Fantasy VII and a bunch of other JRPGs did it. But yeah, I don't know. It's amazing. And I played some Mario Kart Online, and it's pretty fun. I got ruined one day, and I did pretty good another day. I don't know. Mario Kart is awesome. Love that shit.
Mario Kart's pretty great, yeah.
Mario Kart's pretty great. Yeah, I love that it's online. I just love like annihilating real people. It's so much better. Something about that. It's really tapped into the good stuff.
I'm terrible at that. And the other thing about Mario Kart that
So
especially the newest ones, there's so many comeback mechanics in the newest ones. You could be freaking crushing ass in that game. You're super far ahead of everyone else. And then here comes the blue shell.
Yeah.
Or here comes the lightning ball or something.
They literally updated the game to have, so this is only from a few years ago, an update, but like you used to only be able to have one item, and then just like Double Dash, the update allowed you to have 2 items on you at a time. And I'm like, what the fuck? For online, it literally doubled how insane online is. And so, but the reason was because some people were not losing once you get into first. It's just like unfair. So like, okay, double blue shells, double everything, but like it's just so obnoxious sometimes.
One step closer to actual Double Dash again.
Pretty much almost Double Dash. Yeah, I know. Double Dash. I love it.
I want it so bad.
Double Dash is so good.
We got predictions this week, so.
Yeah.
I mean, should we just get on into it?
Actually,
is that our next segment? Is that what we're doing
next?
next?
Just do it. We have a lot of meat, I feel like, to dig out of this.
Okay, we'll do it. So this is the plan for the week. The plan this week is last week we did our very specific Zelda predictions. This week we're doing our overall gaming predictions for the year of our Lord 2021. So
we have entered the promised land.
We're gonna kind of go through like the big 3 and just give our outlandish predictions of what we think is gonna happen.
Yes.
That we that we intend to then revisit at the end of the year and just look at how woefully wrong we were.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, maybe,
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
I mean, it looks like we've got it listed in the notes. Microsoft is the first one. So
Microsoft,
who wants to go first?
more like micro hard. No, so I'll go first because
Okay.
mine is the lamest.
All right. All right,
I
let's
think we're
hear
gonna get
it.
some bullshit Halo game that's gonna try and reignite some bullshit fan franchise, and it's gonna be like real bad.
Well, so time out. Let me pause you there. We know for a
We know
fact
we're getting
that
Halo.
we're
We
getting a
are
Halo
getting a
game.
Halo. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So pretend my
It was
thing
supposed to
a
be.
prediction
It was
2 years
supposed to
ago.
be a launch title for the new Xbox this holiday, but
Xbox
they
S
delayed
series.
it because
Yep.
the announcement trailer was so fucking bad. Everyone was like, "What are you doing?" And so they're like, we're kidding, and we're not launching it this year. We're launching it next holiday season, a whole year from now.
Okay.
CD
Well,
Projekt
shit.
Red, maybe you
My
should
prediction is
I don't
that
know.
it's going to be bad, and hopefully people will realize the series has never been that great. Oops.
Yeah.
I said it.
Well, I mean, how many games now or how many Halo games have there been since the departure of Bungie?
Oh, I don't know that.
So
Like,
Reach
Paul,
was Bungie's last Halo game.
Right.
So after that, you had, I think, Halo 4 and Halo 5. Was there any side Halo games other than, I think there's like the tactics one, or like the
Sure. But
you know,
like
like the real time tactics one or whatever.
I think the fact that we're all hesitating and being like, question mark, kind of proves my point. Is
Yeah.
have there been any good Halo games since Reach?
No, Halo
No.
4 and Halo 5 sucked.
They were trash.
Halo Wars,
So I
thank
think-
you. Yeah, Halo
Josh,
Wars is the
I don't think your prediction is all that outlandish.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's probably gonna suck.
I think it's gonna
Mhm.
suck, and I think it's gonna, this is like a franchise that I think kind of defines Xbox in a way where you like think of
Yeah.
like Xbox. Okay, what do they have? Nothing, but like they have
Halo, Gears of War.
Okay, Gears. I think
They have
it's about
Gears.
time Gears moved to another. Like probably gets moved to Steam eventually.
It is
Yeah.
on Steam.
Oh, see, it's on
and
Steam now, so
quite
that's like
honestly,
huge.
Quite honestly, that's where I'm going to be getting it from now on. As long as they keep cross-platform live and I can keep playing with my
Yeah.
buddy Alex.
That's huge. Yeah.
Well, Game Pass too is a big deal. Honestly,
Game Pass.
so I don't know if anyone has any other lofty predictions.
Not really for Xbox. Yeah.
I think Xbox,
Madden
actually
2022.
Microsoft in general, is putting all their game or all their eggs in the Game Pass basket, right? Which I don't think is a bad idea per
No,
se,
I think that's
because it's the best like model that we've had so far for like a game service, you know. But I still think that exclusives are really important. I think they're what drives competition and makes the industry better. I know that's somewhat controversial because people don't like that they have to have a PlayStation to play that game, or
Yeah.
Xbox to play this game, or Switch to play the Mario game. But like that's what makes these systems keep getting better and these games keep getting better, right?
What defines them from
Is-
each other?
Is that competition, right? If it was all just one open playground, there wouldn't be as much drive to like make some killer game for this system, right?
Mhm.
For the PlayStation,
Mm.
for the Nintendo, right? So I think that that Microsoft knows that. I think that's why they bought Bethesda. It's why they bought Rare. It's why they bought countless other small studios. I mean,
Mhm.
Bethesda's not a small
Bethesda's
studio.
not small.
I'm just saying, in general, they've been scooping up
So
studios
tiny.
left and right.
They're a
Right.
$20 billion company.
Bethesda was a huge deal. So, like, if you don't think, a lot of people are speculating, and I know Bethesda said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna release them on other stuff." Please, you think that how much did they spend? Like $8 billion or something like
It was
that
a
to buy
lot. It was
Bethesda? It
not
was
a small amount.
stupid
It
amount of
was
money,
huge.
right? You really
Yeah.
think they're gonna spend that much money and not make
Keep
some of
things
their games
in-house.
exclusive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, so like Elder Scrolls is on everything, or Skyrim is on everything at this point.
Mhm.
Like, I mean,
It's even on the Switch.
wasn't there a joke? Yeah, wasn't there a joke about it being on like the Raspberry Pi or something like that?
Oh, that's funny.
Um,
It really is.
and do you think it's time for us to for another Elder Scrolls?
I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
mean,
been time for a while.
Yeah, I
that-
think so, but I
yes.
don't think that's coming out anytime soon. So the next thing that they have
I don't
on the
know.
horizon is, what is it called? Starfield,
Yep.
which I
Starfield.
think is still a long ways off. right? Bethesda's been hurting for money. That's why they made Fallout 76 like this ridiculous like pay to play game.
Yeah.
And
Dishonored 3.
and that's also why they sold to Microsoft, right? So because they're hemorrhaging money and they're trying to work on this giant project that's years off. They announced Starfield. I think Starfield is still probably 2 to 3 years away. I don't think it's.
You don't think we'll see Starfield this year?
I don't think we're going to see Starfield. We might see another trailer for Starfield. But did they do any announcements for Starfield at all this year?
Not that I saw.
Yeah. Right? And by this year I mean last year, 2020.
Right.
The year that we don't mention anymore.
Yeah, we're out of it. We're free of it. We don't need to talk about that shit.
So Deathloop is something that they're working on right now. I think that'll come out soon. Ghostwire Tokyo, but I think Ghostwire Tokyo, I believe, is a studio that Bethesda is just publishing.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Like I don't think they're working on it. I think they're just publishing it for that studio. So, but like as far as what they're making, like they're working on Starfield, right? So I don't think we're necessarily going to hear much from them. One big thing that I do expect more information on, I don't know that it's coming out this year, but I think we're definitely going to get more information on it, is what's the RPG? The Xbox RPG.
No.
Fable.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the one.
Fable.
Yeah.
The company died, didn't it?
What?
Who makes that?
Microsoft.
Who makes Fable?
Microsoft.
Oh, just straight up by themselves?
Or they bought the studio that owned it, but it's always been a Microsoft exclusive. So
we haven't seen that since 2012 or earlier.
Right.
Even.
And we got the teaser. We got the teaser last year.
Yep.
And by last year I mean the year that we no longer name.
Yes. Shing, shing.
So I think that I don't know that it's coming out this year. They didn't give a release date, right? So that's kind of nebulous, but I definitely think we're gonna hear some big news about it this year.
Well, especially if a lot of the gaming conventions go digital, because I know they've pushed the date of PAX East to summer at this point, and like with what I've been reading, it doesn't seem like that's even going to happen. So I wonder if we see more digital announcements at the time that either PAX East would be normally or when it would be scheduled, or when it was rescheduled for. I wouldn't be surprised to see Fable announcements within Q1, Q2, if they're going to announce something big like that.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me. Do you think that there's any other big things that Microsoft will be pulling out this year?
I have one idea. It's not the biggest game, but it's been a game that they said a second one was coming out for a long time, Beyond Good and Evil, and they own Rareware, and Rare hasn't done anything in a really long time. I think it's possible we see Beyond Good and Evil 2 because it is a cult classic, and there's literally a trailer for it that they dropped.
There is a trailer, you're right. That came out like, what, 3 years ago?
The trailer was like 3 years ago, and they're like, oh, everyone was like, what? All the characters like in high def.
Yeah, you're right. God, I forgot about that. That's a really great point.
That's an OG Xbox game, and me and Colin played that in 2012 or 13. But that game came out in I don't even know, 2008 or earlier. Maybe even earlier. Yeah, way earlier. Yeah. But that, cult classic, definitely an awesome, unique game where it's not like a weird shooter or anything. It's more like a Zelda-esque adventure, and I would love to see some kind of Also, another one I just remembered. So this was one of Rare's first undertakings. Wait, what happened first? Xbox wasn't. Beyond Good and Evil wasn't Rare, I don't think. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I was thinking of this game, Konami Elements of Power. I think that's the Rare game that first got developed when I need a bunch of fact checks. That's the game that first got developed when Rare got bought up by Microsoft. I think Beyond Good and Evil was just straight Xbox without Rare, I want to say, but maybe I'm missing some marks. But that game had an amazing, it's basically you're like an elemental and you can absorb all these elemental powers. And it felt very much kind of like Rare's attempt at doing a Banjo-Kazooie in a fantasy world where it's more humanoid fantasy style stuff. Skyrim meets Banjo-Kazooie, I guess. And it was interesting. And that'd be something I would like to see too. I think Beyond Good and Evil is probably my big prediction though, since I actually care about that.
So we are being told that Beyond Good and Evil is Ubisoft.
Okay.
Okay, so
fair
I'm
enough,
thinking
yeah.
Konami Elements of Power. Fact check. That is rare.
I don't think it's Cameo. Yeah.
Cameo.
Oh, yeah.
There it is.
And is there a rare symbol on that box?
I don't see one.
I don't see one either.
So tell me.
All right. Here's my loftiest prediction for Microsoft. And this is kind of a combo one. Are you ready for this? I think this is kind of out there, but I think there's a strong possibility of this happening, especially considering some recent leaks that we've seen.
Said yes, Cameo was rare. Okay, good.
I believe that Microsoft is going to attempt to continue to push partnership with Nintendo. And the reason I say this is because not only have they been doing that recently, but they've also been really like putting all their eggs in that game service basket, right? The Game Pass. So do we see Game Pass come to the Nintendo Switch?
I think such a huge thing is Xbox has never had a handheld console or had any success with that. And partnering with Nintendo would allow you to play Xbox games on a handheld console for the first time, the Switch. And that is massive. And they could even do handheld versions of stuff for the DS. But I think that is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, like probable accurate prediction for next year is that there's going to be some kind of intense partnership or like some kind of crossovers that we're not like.
Yeah. So another thing that recently leaked on Nintendo of Japan's website was a couple of rare games. To be honest, I can't remember what. I think Banjo-Kazooie was one of them, as well as I'm trying to remember what the other one was. There was two, and they were listed with Microsoft as the publisher on the Nintendo of Japan website.
If we
they were only up there for like 2 days, and then they issued like an apology or some kind of like BSPR kind of like response, like, "Hey, just kidding, those aren't coming to." But a lot of people are like, "Oh, those games are in the Rare replay." Like, what if they put the Rare replay on the Nintendo Switch? So
and then I also saw a bunch of subsequent articles like, what if they put this on the Switch? What if they put that? And it's exactly what we were talking about 2 weeks ago when we said, Nintendo, you've got all this emulation stuff, just do it.
Well, so here's the really weird thing about that leak though, and this is where it kind of gets a little woo woo or whatever you want to call it. The listings were not for Nintendo Switch. They were for the Wii U.
Right.
Which is
strange.
Bizarre. But could have been a mistake. I don't know. Like the fact that they listed Microsoft as the publisher specifically for those games kind of makes you think, wait a minute, at the time those games came out, Microsoft was not the publisher. But they own them now. So,
wow.
Kind of food for thought. So those are my loftiest predictions for Microsoft.
Literally allows Nintendo to remake all like everything, including like Star Fox 64 is even owned by Rare now. So like it would allow them to, they own the properties to like Donkey Kong and stuff, but not to like certain games like Banjo-Kazooie and Star Fox 64. So like these are games that would actually be really amazing if they partnered up that we could get remakes of.
Remake of Conquer, Paul?
Conquer, oh my god! I mean, they did that. We can literally get that ported over to the Switch. Just a remaster of that remake for the 360.
Yeah, I played the Xbox version on stream
last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, last year. I want to say
Not
year before last. It was in
nothing's more painful than the 64
2019.
Oh god,
it wasn't in the cursed year.
The voice acting is so painful in that game.
It sounds so better in the remake of it.
Yeah, it does.
They cleaned it up. The reason it sounded so bad, well, number one, it's like literally one guy that did all the voice acting. And number two, it was like ultra compressed on the Nintendo 64, so it kind of sounded shit. So like the re-release on Xbox actually sounds pretty good. I didn't have a problem with it.
So my only big prediction for Microsoft this year is just kind of a gut reaction. We saw Gears Tactics last year, and we saw apparently there's more story content that has dropped for Gears that I haven't turned my Xbox on to figure out if it's actually there or not. But I noticed it was suspiciously absent from a lot of the promo stuff for Xbox Series X. which makes me wonder if the coalition has something in the works for Gears.
That's
Well, that's
possible.
really
Yeah.
strange because I feel like Gears has been in the marketing material for every iteration of the Xbox
Since the 360,
yeah, because it came out on 360.
right.
But yeah,
And the story is at the end of Gears 5 is very open ended.
Interesting.
It can go any direction, and it's been a few years. I wouldn't be surprised to see a continuation of that story in some capacity, whether that's another full-fledged Gears game or some DLC or something to sell more copies of Gears. The game is fantastic. The story is amazing.
yeah.
So that's my prediction is we're going to see something for Gears this year.
Excellent. You guys want to
I also
move
know
on
there's a
to-
movie in the works
Hey.
in some state of limbo. But
Do you
it's
think
like
they'll do
not-
a movie game tie-in?
Oh, that'd be weird. No, thank you. We don't need those 90s
The Street Fighter, the movie, the game.
well no, like the
Oh my God.
Dude, I had
games
that
like
on
Candace
Sega
likes,
Saturn. FMV.
the FMV games, yeah.
The game.
Dude,
oh my God.
I had Street Fighter the
Oh,
movie, the
God.
game for Sega Saturn, and it had all like the characters, like all the people from the movie superimposed onto the Street
Oh,
Fighter
boy.
characters in the game. It was fucking awful.
Well, they've been doing a lot with what scares me even more about that comment, Paul, is Dave Bautista, the guy who plays Drax, has been reinserted into the game as Marcus Phoenix in
My
Gears
God.
5. So but we are perilously close to FMV territory at this point.
Oh God.
Oh, did you guys watch that god awful trailer with Vin Diesel in it at the Game Awards?
Uh-uh.
Oh my God. You just reminded me of it. You guys need to go back and watch it. It's for what is that game? It doesn't matter. That stupid dinosaur game. Anyway, hilarious. Go check it out. Game Awards, Vin Diesel. If you search that, you'll find it.
Arc, I think is.
Oh
what
yeah,
it's called.
Ark Survival of Ark 2. Yeah. Thank you so much. In the chat with the clutch save there. Dude, it's the most cringy freaking trailer. It's so funny. You should watch it. Let's talk about Sony. You guys ready
Let's
to talk
do
about
that.
Sony?
Let's talk about it.
Who's got Sony predictions?
Jack and Daxter remake or a new iteration Jack and Daxter 4. I don't fucking know. An iteration of the PS5 comes out next year that comes interlaced with the VR. So in like a new way that you don't have to add it in. That's my other prediction.
I think
there's gonna be
that's a solid prediction. I believe
Yeah.
there's already like what do you call it? Patents
yeah.
filed for
Wow.
the PS5 Pro, I believe,
Mhm.
or some iteration of that, like already a new version of the PS5. So
Yeah.
I don't know that comes out this year, but it's certainly possible we get an announcement for it this year. And you're right, the PS5 or the PS4 VR was the most successful VR headset on the market, right?
Yeah.
So it stands to reason. I know that the PS5 supports the previous generation's VR,
Mhm.
but it certainly stands to reason that they would continue with that.
Yeah. Make a new version.
Yeah, I don't think that's too far out there. I think that's a really good prediction, is that we're gonna get a new iteration of the PlayStation 5 as well as a new PSVR.
Yeah.
Now, whether those are this year or whether we just get an announcement,
Seems kinda
that's up in
soon,
the
yeah.
air. That seems soon, especially because people still can't get a PS5. I'm still trying to get a damn PS5.
So stupid. I can't believe that. Yeah. It'd be so frustrating to do that and then drop another one immediately after, and you'd be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah.
I
Like-
laughed so hard when my friend from the boondocks of New York State got one first try with zero hassle.
Wow.
And Paul was in the same queue, could not get one.
That's so fucked up.
And it was like his 10th time trying.
Yeah, it's miserable.
I
So
think-
that actually brings us to my prediction is
Oh.
Sony doesn't catch up with demand.
Oh shit.
That's like
Yeah.
something just goes wrong and they are not able to catch up with demand.
Ooh.
Yeah,
We have a
I
big
could see it
bust this
happening.
year. It's kind of karma for like pushing back all the other peeps.
Exactly.
not hanging out with Nintendo and Xbox.
Just not. I mean, they're not willing to cooperate with anybody else. Like, I've wanted to play Spider-Man PS4 for, I mean, since it came out. I can't. I end up playing Batman Arkham again because I can. It's on Steam. So maybe we see Sony starting to play ball a little bit with other people. Maybe PC. I don't know.
I need to see Ghost of Tsushima on Steam. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, so that's been something that's been happening more and more. We got what was it? The bow and arrow chick with the red hair.
Oh, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon Zero Dawn on PC.
Steam.
PC.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's definitely something that we could see is some more PlayStation exclusives coming to PC.
Oh yeah,
Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but I think they did say they wanted to wait a full year, so I guess that'd be about.
Well, it'd be a full year in April, right?
Yeah,
full year in April, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and even one step further predict that we probably are going to see the second disc also next year for Final Fantasy VII Remake 2. And there's gonna be like 5. I don't even care. I'm totally lost on it personally. I'm not even gonna get it if it comes to Steam at this point. Yeah, I'm just play the original, which is 40 hours long. I'll be happy.
I know, right?
See, I want to play them, but I want to wait till the whole game is out.
That maybe the whole game comes out, but like then it's gonna be like a 300-hour game, and I'm like maybe that's awesome. But like
just
maybe it's the most
beautiful. Spend the year
thing.
playing it.
Yeah, I was just kind of sad when I heard like the entire first disc is like just the first city, and I'm like, that's like only 5 hours of the actual game. Like you're already out of the city like before you're in the second town.
Do you think they're gonna do that with all of the parts? How many parts is there supposed to be? 3?
I thought there was supposed to be 3.
Okay, so if there's 3 parts, do you think that they're gonna really stretch them out like they did the first one? Or
probably, yeah. Like the second one is probably going to be like one major landmark, and then like you'll get to finally explore the town. I don't know how open world is going to be in this because they don't want to cheesify it and shrink down your character and have you running around a giant map like you are in Final Fantasy VII. You literally like see Cloud, like you know what I'm saying, like Pokemon style on a big map. But like, how are they going to do this open world? Maybe they do like channels and tunnels, like linear tunnel systems that kind of bring you to these worlds. I don't know. So it's going to kind of ruin the realistic aspect of it for me. Yeah. So, like maybe they're scared of doing the open world, which is why they didn't do any of it. And maybe they're going to find another transportation system to these other towns. Like they did driving and actually they did it good in Final Fantasy 15. Now that I'm thinking about it, where the open world was like Breath of the Wild. But then it was just like massive. And
you're just driving around in that car.
And the car learns to fly eventually. Don't worry.
My God.
My God, it's self-aware.
I mean, it wouldn't be a Final Fantasy game without an airship, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's always an airship. You always build up. Thanks to Chrono Trigger, they did that. Well, I don't know if they're the first ones to do that, but they got the airship thing. Remember?
Yeah.
What happened first?
I'm pretty sure every Final Fantasy game has had an airship, haven't they?
Yeah, hold on.
Or is Final Fantasy 4 the first one? It can't be. It can't be. Are there airships in 1, 2, and 3?
You always upgrade your vehicle like multiple times. Yeah. All right, I'm also gonna just drop it in there. God of War 5 or whatever the fuck, probably coming out. God of War New 2.
So they teased it. They teased it earlier last year, or dude, since it's New Year, we're 3 days in. It's hard for me not to say this year. Not very long ago, not early last year, like late last year. Late last year, they teased it. Okay, so we know there's another one coming. I'm very excited about that. Actually,
I think that'd be a smart drop, like this next season. Yeah.
But I think what I don't have any on my mind, like what exclusives that PlayStation's gonna put out this year. But I think that in order to keep their edge that they had over this last generation, they have to, right? That's the only thing that they had going for them.
They need some real stuff.
With the PS4 was they were putting out exclusives that people wanted to play and Xbox wasn't, right? So they need to keep that up. So resurrecting old titles is a good idea. It's always a risk to put out something new, but I think people would be into it. Like it was successful with Horizon Zero Dawn, right? So they could do another Jak and Daxter. We'd all be happy.
Would we?
I want to see more freaking samurai games. I feel like the last 2 years were like kind of like the resurrection of the genre. So
Yeah, I mean, you had Ghost and you had Sekiro. So
yeah,
I'm
I
wondering
think
what
maybe
next
we
they
get an announcement for whatever the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima
Yeah,
is, but I don't think that
possible,
game's
yeah.
coming out anytime soon.
No, that would
You
take
know?
a few years. That'd be like
Um,
3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's the big stuff we get from PlayStation. I don't,
Yeah.
yeah, I wish I
I
had like a
also-
specific title in mind that I like was confident is coming back, but
well, I'll throw this out there. Spider-Man Miles Morales dropped.
Oh, yeah.
But that was, correct me if I'm wrong, but that seemed like it was a little bit shorter. Or
yeah, it's almost
smaller
like an
than-
expansion rather than
Yeah.
a full game. So it's like what was that the Nathan Drake business?
Uncharted.
Uncharted.
So the Uncharted game that came out that was like about his daughter or whatever, that was much
Yeah.
shorter. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was kind of like that level of content.
So that makes me wonder with big or with the big name licenses that Sony holds at the cinematic level,
Mm-hmm.
do we see something like a Morbius game or a just
Morbius.
another one of those Sony Marvel characters coming out that I mean, we know that
think it'd
Sony's going
be-
to have to be giving us more information about their MCU contributions over the next year because they're filming the new Spider-Man.
I think that'd be a really good idea. And Marvel could use a win right now. I
Yeah,
know.
we can have that
I
for
know.
Avengers.
This year?
Miles Morales did well, but the Avengers game
Was
ate a fatty.
trash.
You know.
Yeah,
Wait,
it was bad.
Endgame this year?
No,
last
dude.
year?
Endgame
No.
was so we didn't have MCU content
That's
in
what I'm
the
saying.
year
We
that
didn't
didn't happen.
have MCU content at all,
Yeah.
did we?
Our next MCU content comes on the 17th. It is
God.
WandaVision. It's literally staring me right in the face right now. I've got an advert behind the.
The year of
Dude,
which
I
we do not speak.
We didn't
is-
get any Marvel or anything.
Wait, what about the
What
Black
small
Widow
thing-
movie come
No,
out?
Black
When is-
Widow's coming out in May.
Oh,
Coming straight
word.
to Disney
Shit.
Plus, I
At
heard.
least at the moment.
Yeah.
Feige is determined to keep it in theaters, and
Oh, keep it in theaters. Wow.
gonna be honest, I don't want to go to theaters. And not for COVID related reasons. I just like my home theater downstairs.
Yeah.
I've become used to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
miss
my own
theaters.
theater,
I'm
my
not gonna
own
lie.
thoughts.
I miss getting
Good blanket.
a big bucket of popcorn and a big old fountain Coke. You know, like
Yeah.
Coke,
Yeah, sure.
that like
But like,
Coke only
I can-
tastes good in two places: out of a glass bottle or out of a movie theater fountain. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely correct.
So
Absolutely correct.
I
But
miss
then
that.
at home, I can make a big tub of buttery popcorn that
Mhm.
I can recreate, and I got beer downstairs. Can't really get that at the
Yeah.
theater.
You can
Yeah.
drink at your
Yeah.
house.
It's
So,
true. It's got a good
There's
point.
something about the experience I agree, but
Yeah.
I
No,
wouldn't be
there
mad
is.
if things
But-
came straight to their channels.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but like Wonder Woman did really well for DC.
I heard it was
going
one of
to
the worst
HBO
movies
now.
ever. Everyone I know that
yes.
saw it heard it like it was terrible.
So the first one's freaking awesome. I love
I thought
the
it was
first
the best
Wonder
DC
Woman
movie that
Yeah.
existed.
I-
Yeah.
I
It's
think
not
you're
very
right.
much.
The new
And I
one,
give it an 8 still.
a lot of people have been shitting on the new one. I don't think it's that bad, but it doesn't
Yeah.
hold a candle to the first one.
It's
And
just
so, and I think people just had much higher expectations. So, that was a bummer. It's still, I think, a fun movie to watch, but it doesn't compare to the first one, not even a little bit. You know, so that was kind of a bummer. But I don't think I also am in the camp of I think the DC movies are better than most people think that they are anyway. Like
Sure.
I prefer them to most Marvel movies, even the shitty ones.
That I won't agree with, but I will
That I
definitely say
don't
they are
With
generally
the
better.
Even the shittiest
than-
Marvel movie is better than any DC movie in my
I
opinion.
find that incredibly erroneous.
I'm not going to agree with that either, Josh.
Really?
In my opinion, the shittiest.
Fantastic Four.
That doesn't count. That's not MCU. That's a garbage movie.
Which
Um,
one?
Yeah. The new-
Fantastic.
new-
Michael B. Jordan Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
Really, really bad. But like in my opinion, the worst. And I know this is controversial
Bring
because
it.
a lot of people like it, but the worst Marvel movie in my opinion is Ant-Man.
No.
And
Ant-Man's
though.
fine, but it's just so generic Marvel
Yeah,
movie.
it's
It's like
so
cookie
generic.
cutter
I
and
agree.
fucking Marvel
that's-
movie. And that's why I like the DC movies more. Is because
there's some
the
that are,
MCU movies became very cookie
Aquaman.
cutter for a while.
Aquaman, yay.
Aquaman was fine. Aquaman was fine. It was just as good as any of the Marvel stuff that came out.
Black Panther is amazing.
Black Panther's great.
Black
Yeah.
Panther's great.
Yeah.
But again, it's the ones that are good or the ones that are the best are the ones that redefine what it means to be a superhero movie.
I just think
Captain America, Winter Soldier, Winter Soldier, Black Panther, Guardians 1 specifically.
Yeah, Guardians 1, 2 sucked. I hated 2.
What?
I did not enjoy 2 at all.
Oh, you guys are
But the
insane.
Thor Ragnarok, that's my jam.
Ragnarok was amazing.
Ragnarok
But
was
again,
great.
like,
Ragnarok was really good.
Winter Soldier was
Also,
a
Endgame and
spy-
Infinity.
Like
That's the thing.
It-
Infinity
it's-
Game. What am I saying?
I honestly thought the
Infinity War and Endgame are so good. It blows the
they're
entire.
fine. They're
Infinity War is
exhausting.
excellent.
Though.
Endgame is exhausting.
They're
Endgame is
exhausting. Both of them are exhausting. To me.
Ah.
They're good, and like it was a good end to the
Yes.
the big old shabammy
Shabamos.
over the last 20 years it's been since they started this. 10, I don't
like
know,
10,
whatever.
yeah.
But
Hi, we're really leaning into the and other stuff today.
we are, which is fine. We're running low on time. We should
We should probably move on to
move
Nintendo.
on.
Go Nintendo. Thanos
Let's
wins.
talk about Nintendo. All right, moving on. Nintendo announcements.
Good on Nintendo.
I think Nintendo's gonna have a big year. Like
I think so,
other
too.
than the Zelda stuff, I think
Is it
that they're
big
gonna
year
do some cool things. Who wants to go
Yeah.
first?
I'm just gonna get mine out of the way because
Let's hear it.
we did our whole show last week on the 35th anniversary of Legend of Zelda, but we completely missed that the same year that the original Legend of Zelda came out, the original Metroid came out.
Yeah,
They've
that's massive.
Got to do something to
Yes.
like every Super Smash Brothers player I've ever met has this undying adoration for Samus Aran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
And myself included. She was an amazing character in all of the Metroid games.
Yeah.
The Metroid games are some of my favorites, and they defined a genre,
And
Metroidvania.
almost all of them are bangers. There's like 2 bad Metroid games.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, they're like
So-
handheld or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
there
know
was the
what-
what was the one that
Oh,
didn't even
Other
have
M.
Samus
Other
in it?
M was
So other M was the one on GameCube that sucked a
Mhm.
the
booty.
Wii, I think.
Okay, Wii, sure.
Yeah.
Didn't play it.
Right.
It was ambitious. It had some cool ideas, but it ended up being shitty, which is
Yeah.
fine, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
that's other M, and then the other one that sucked was what was the 3DS one that was like
the one
fucking
that actually
Space
used both
Marines and
screens. It was
Samus isn't
really
even in it.
odd.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
I
that
didn't like
was-
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Gross.
the other like the Metroid Prime that was on DS was awesome. It was
Oh, yeah,
actually
yeah, that one's
fucking
I
and it
Very
loved
good.
that.
dude,
Yeah.
it had awesome multiplayer like on the
Yeah.
DS. I thought it was like it felt like you're playing Halo on your DS. Like the
Mhm.
controls were a little weird because you had to use the stylus, but like it was fucking cool.
It was
like
really, really fun.
yeah. But other
Yeah.
than that, like there's the 2 games we mentioned, the whatever Space
Other M.
Marines and
Yeah,
Other
or-
M.
Another M.
Those are the only 2 Metroid games that suck. The
They were
rest of
bad.
them are
And
bad.
part of that is they all stay on formula.
Mhm.
And so I don't know what Nintendo's going to do to celebrate Metroid 35, but they better do something
Well,
because that franchise is super important.
we had
I
Metroid
agree.
Prime 4 announced like 3 years ago now.
So
Yeah,
what
it's
happened
been a
there is
while.
they scrapped their producers
Mhm.
and they went with Retro Studios, which is what they should have done in the first
To
place.
begin with, yeah.
Yeah, I think Retro was working on something like at the time, like maybe it was the Tropical Freeze rehash onto the Switch, but like
Mhm.
no excuse not to put. Come on, if Nintendo comes to you and says, "Build me another Metroid Prime game,"
Yeah.
I was just thinking this though, like never has there been aside from like top-down Zelda into 2D Zelda and like sideways Mario into regular Mario, 3D
Mm-hmm.
Mario, has there been such a flawless transition of like the old into the new and yet
Mhm.
maintaining both perfectly as their own
Yeah.
identities? Like
Yeah.
Metroid is both of them, 2D
Mhm.
and 3D, and like Prime just like fucking killed it. It still feels exactly like Metroid, and the game is just so deep. And I think we need something like not too new. I don't want it to be like Doom or something like that.
Right. No,
But
yeah.
Yeah, like T-rated at best, but like it needs to feel like exactly like we're coming into Metroid Prime for the first time again. And I think the Switch has kind of been doing a lot of that reinventing of the old into the new. So I think Metroid Prime 4 is a solid. We got that leak from that guy who predicted Paper Mario, and that happened about the 2D Metroids. I'm thinking maybe Super Metroid 2 would be a sweet sequel. Super Metroid 2 specifically.
That makes me very happy.
I would also like to see like maybe a Metroid Fusion 2.
I would like honestly even just Metroid 3, just straight up calling it Metroid 3, like because we had Metroid 2 and Metroid 3, and then they start or Metroid 2, and then they started doing
Metroid 2 and Super Metroid.
Super Metroid. It'd be cool if they just went like Metroid 3 or Super Metroid 2, Metroid Fusion 2. Zero Mission 1.0, or I don't even know, any number of things. Zero Mission was the remake, actually.
Yeah, Zero Mission was a remake of the first one, and it had like the prologue where you're Samus outside the suit, which was really fucking badass. And you had to do all the stealth stuff. That was a great game.
That was really cool.
Great game. So yeah, dude, I'm stoked for either. I think there's almost a certain chance we're getting both of those games this year. That would be, and possibly a Metroid 35 sounds kind of like hype a little. I don't know. Maybe we're getting all the 35s. I don't fucking know. I think if we're getting 135,
so cool. They just give us like seasons. So you have like Mario 35 and then Zelda 35 and then Metroid 35. Mega Man 35. Oh my god.
Donkey Kong 35. I think if we're gonna get one, it's gonna be Zelda 35, and then maybe we'll get Metroid 35, or maybe there'll be a collection. I don't know. I would love that if there was a 35 collection that just kept DLCing it to you. Like I would love that. That. And then, a Metroid collection is very likely as well, since they realized this was probably like the Mario 35 Anniversary Edition collection. I keep forgetting what it's called, 3D thing. Why can't I remember 3D All-Stars? God damn it. I think they realized how wildly successful that was, and I don't see why they wouldn't do a Zelda and a Metroid in the same year. Very possible.
Definitely.
Like
that's just a cash grab. That's
cash grab. Yeah. And they already have Super Metroid for free, so it's probably going to be Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3, which I think would be amazing.
Metroid Prime Collection. Yeah, why wouldn't they do that? Yeah.
And then immediately drop 4 after that. Or you can even do a super bundle.
You know what? They already did a Metroid Prime Collection on the Wii, didn't they? Or Wii U, one of them. It would be super easy just to, upscale that and port it over.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they do that?
Why wouldn't they do that? I would love a little upscaling. My other Retro Studios prediction real quick while we're on the subject. I think they were working on another fucking Donkey Kong game, and I'm not laying this down. I've been predicting that, Tropical Freeze getting reintroduced on the Switch is kind of a reintroduction to the modern day Donkey Kong game. Tropical Freeze came out in 2013, and Retro Studios worked on it, and I think it's possible that was why they were tied up and didn't work fully into, maybe they're working on 2 games at the same time right now is what I'm saying. So my other big prediction is going to be, it's not going to be called Tropical Freeze 2. It's going to be like Donkey Kong Country, blank.
Yeah.
I think that's a massive possibility because it's been 7 years. I would love a new Donkey Kong game. Please.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I have a lot of. You go first.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So here's my like one big prediction.
Yeah.
I think we're getting a new Mario Kart.
Oh, see that. Mario Kart 9.
Yeah.
Mario Kart Double Dash 2.
Mario Kart Double Dash 2. Yeah, we kind of joked about it earlier, but I don't know that it would be Double Dash 2.
I think it'd be 9. Or something.
I think
or just like a Double Dash mode would be fine.
Like, so we haven't really had a new Mario Kart game in a really long time. Even the one that is on Switch is a port of the Wii U one. And honestly, the Wii U one is a little better. It's got the replays and shit, which were really fun. Like, so I really do think that we're due for a new Mario Kart, and I think that we're gonna see something like that this year.
Well, with everybody at home, we talked about this on our year in review episode. Animal Crossing was colossal because people could play with each other.
Yeah,
exactly. I think we're going to see a huge surge in cooperative gaming.
Yes,
and that's why I think Zelda 35 or Metroid 35 is a very real possibility, because it gets people playing together from home. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a Mario Kart, a new Mario Kart, and especially like you said, Josh, a co-op Double Dash
Yeah.
from 2 completely different locations would be amazing.
Double
Do
dash
you
mode,
guys think
Yeah.
that Nintendo gods will ever grace us with a Zelda Maker?
I think it's highly possible. Oh my god.
That's I mean, to build a dungeon like that would be
Yeah.
such
Here's
a
the
time
thing:
commitment, but
they
it would be so
kind of
rewarding.
teased it, and I shouldn't say teased it. I almost think that the dungeon system in like the special dungeon system in Link's Awakening
Mhm.
remake
Yeah.
was a beta test for
I literally
dungeon maker.
I went into it thinking that it was like Mario Maker at first, and then I was like, oh, it's kind of like, but then you can like just build your most challenging dungeon, and it's like
Mhm.
really fun. But yeah, that's almost like you could just build pieces and be like, what do you want to put in here? And now like it gives you like, oh, for the size of your dungeon, you will, and your amount of doors, you require 5 keys. Please place them here. It can just be like, well, you can't put it there. You're blocked out. So easily did I make a dungeon with the Dampy thing where I like accidentally used the key in the wrong spot, and I'm like, oh shit, like I may have made an impossible dungeon somehow because like you don't know exactly the route. But you know, it would definitely have to be a smart maker, I think.
Yeah.
Like
It wouldn't be. It couldn't be totally autonomous the way that Mario Maker is.
Right.
Yeah, it couldn't just be totally crazy off the wall. But I think, yeah, that would be massive. And dare I say, to do a 3D model one as well, where like, I don't know if it would just like, maybe they could do all the stuff. Maybe it would more likely be like
That's bold.
Old NES 8-bit. It would be like, it looks like a Link to the Past. It looks like you could even do a Game Boy Color version, and then of course like new Link's Awakening version, and like do all of those. And then maybe if I'm lucky and die and go to heaven, there'll be a 3D Zelda Maker where you can do like Ocarina of Time and all that. But that sounds like, I don't know, like they didn't do 64 for Mario Maker, so I'm thinking like they probably won't take any leaps and bounds as far as changing perspective. Probably be a top-down Zelda Maker.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's what I would expect.
I think that's a strong possibility too. I think like all of these things are strong. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in that I think Odyssey 2 is still a possibility next year. I think this is a lot to pile on 1 year, so I think a lot of this is gonna spill out. But I think everything we just named is like, I think 90% of it is probably going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
But it's just like, when are these things happening?
Now, what about new hardware?
The new Switch I think is going to come out, the Switch Plus or whatever. I think we're going to get a new Joy-Con. I don't think it's change. Like it might have better, like it might be updated better. Like, oh, you can buy this and put it on your old one, but if it's like working with the new one, it somehow is like mechanically more refined. And then that's maybe we'll see Skyward Sword because of that, and it's just like perfect, like motion. I think they would want to perfect the motion in some way. So I don't see why not a new Joy-Con.
I think that whatever next iteration of Switch is going to come at the same time that Breath 2 comes out. Now, do we know if Breath 2 is going to get delayed because of the COVID? We don't know that yet. So, and a lot of the speculations we made are going to be subject to that, I think. But I think it's safe to say that Switch iteration, like a new like Switch Pro or whatever you want to call it, is going to come out right around the same time as Breath 2.
Yeah, they're going to want to give you the option for both. Yeah,
I did read a thing this morning that said that they are predicting that another at least 4 years of lifespan for the Switch.
That's great.
So that's reassuring also.
Yeah,
that's great. I think that's small even. Like I think the Switch really has a chance to go. Like I don't know, maybe it does need a hardware upgrade, and I'm all for it if I can transfer all my.
For sure does.
Yeah, I'll take my old one, and then it doesn't cost much, so it's like whatever.
Right.
But I think what they're setting up, like with the online SNES and all that shit, and like all these old games, and even Wii U games getting all brought on into it, and having all this online support for once. Finally, Nintendo. Like, we don't even have Netflix, but now we actually have online gaming support, which is like the first time Nintendo's ever done this, like aside from Smash. So it's really awesome. I'd be really sad. I know it's like games go on, but like I'd be really sad if it only lasted like 5 or 6 years. I would want this to be like a 10-year cycle. The Switch really has the potential to go far, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any other lofty predictions, guys?
Maybe some kind of 3DS integration, like some kind of really like big integration where you can like play the games on it. I don't know, because that was kind of a thing with the Game Boy player. Maybe you can tear into the 3D off and play it on your Switch. That'd be really cool. Like literally, I'm not giving that like a rash prediction, but I'm thinking like just hardware enhancements, maybe. I don't know. maybe the new Switch will have a way to put multiple Joy-Cons in it and charge them. I don't fucking know. I'm ready to go now.
That's funny. Well,
my big question is that I hope the Cuphead DLC and physical cartridge comes out. I know they said it's delayed indefinitely, but they said once the DLC is done, they're going to have a physical cartridge for the Switch. It's delayed indefinitely now, but I'm going to put my dream money on that happening next year as well. This year.
Cool. That'd be cool.
Right on.
So we're right at about an hour. We didn't talk about like independent studios. We didn't talk about like the possibilities of VR. Maybe we can continue a little bit of this discussion next week. There is one thing that I wanted to bring up while it's still topical before we close out, and that's what the fuck has been going on with Cyberpunk 2077.
Ooh, yeah.
This is something we probably should have talked about before, but we had some, special things planned over the last couple of weeks, holidays and all that. So, but what we've been seeing with Cyberpunk is something we've never seen in video games before, and that's like massive refunding on like consoles and on like digital versions.
I mean, every platform.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean the game is success. Like here's the thing, it's wild. Like the game is an amazing game on PC, and it's serviceable on like the next gen consoles, but not very many people have next gen consoles.
Right.
They promised this game was going to be available and playable on last gen, and they even have like a special edition Xbox One X, right? You can't fucking play the games on those. They run like anus, right? So that's something that, like, what do you guys think about all that? Like, it's kind of unprecedented. Do you think that they should have delayed Cyberpunk again? Do you think they should have come out and said, hey, let's not put it out on these last gen consoles?
I had a friend get it. So this guy at work got it and said that he sees why people are complaining about it. He got it on PS4 and he sees why they're complaining about like frame drops and stuff, but he said it's not game breaking. Like you're still playing the game, and that it's like, the way he put it was like only PC gamers would really care about something like this, like how unrefined it is. But like I heard the same thing happen with Final Fantasy VII Remake, where it's like a few texture drops and you're like, oh, it pulls you out of the beautifulness of it. But like it is such a high power game. Like we got to expect a little bit of like, you're not running it on a PC. Yeah. Like sure, it could look just as beautiful on console, but sometimes a PC just is a more powerful system to maintain those graphics and frames. Yeah. So it's like, sorry, the console just not quite powerful enough. I think it's kind of lame that people are returning and refunding it. Sure.
Well, but here's something to think about though. Like, it may be playable for some people in certain situations, like if you have a PS4 Pro or maybe if you have an Xbox One X. I've heard some horror stories about some of the other consoles that it's just a freaking nightmare. And that's something that probably could have been fixed with time. I mean, they've got The Witcher 3 running on the Nintendo Switch. Okay, that's not. So it's not like they couldn't scale the game to be able to run on these consoles. But, and I think that was their original intention, but I think they didn't let it bake in the oven long enough. And that's what people are upset about.
That makes sense. I get that. Yeah. You know what Miyamoto says? What does he say again? Oh, wait. Fuck. He says like a good game. Oh my God. I hate this quote that I can't remember. Someone back me up here. A bad game, a rushed game is bad forever, but a good game.
Again, you take your time on will be good forever or something like that. I don't know.
I can't remember the exact wording. Damn it. I really wish I had
known
that.
We get the point.
If you rush it, it's going to be bad, and it's going to always be bad. Like you should have waited. Like I want every game we just mentioned for Nintendo, especially, to take its sweet ass time. Maybe if it had taken a little longer with Origami King, like it would have been a perfect game. But like some things just need not be rushed, like Breath of the Wild 2, for example. Take 4 more years.
Here we go, Chamali with the alley oop. It's a delayed game is eventually good, but a rush game is forever bad.
There it is. Okay, and that's Miyamoto right there for you. So, and he knows, he made all of them. So, thank you, Charlie.
It's true. Yeah. I'm not gonna repeat 4G's quip. Anyway,
No.
He said, oh my God, what did he say? I can't see the chat. Forget it.
That's the show, boys and girls. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, there's a couple things we didn't quite get to, but you know, we can maybe talk about that next week. This is Difficult Podcast. I am your host, Paul. Ryugami-san, you're on my Twitch channel right now if you're watching us live. Ryugami-sama at Ryugami-sama is where you can find me on Twitter if you want to shout obscenities at me or something. And yeah, here, let me post where you can. Yeah, here we go. Doop. Boom. There you go. You can join the Discord if you want to chat with us about video games during the week and hang out. Also, you know, share clips if you want to. Our YouTube link should be in there if you want to, check out the podcast on YouTube if you missed it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please share the podcast. Share it with your friends. If you enjoy it, do it.
Do it. Help people.
That's all I got. Josh, where can we find you?
Find me at Lord Yeshua and Lord Yeshua TTV on all my bullshit. And come hang out. Never. And I'm getting back to it, I think, but not yet.
We're eagerly awaiting your return to streaming.
Everyone's waiting with bated breath.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, retro streaming coming soon. Don't you worry. It's all coming back.
Beautiful.
I think. Maybe. Probably.
Do it.
Do it. Do it. Just fucking do it. Zach.
I'm Zach. I stream Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at twitch.tv/another letdown. And my Twitter handle is at DENONCZD.
Perfect. Awesome. Everyone have an amazing night. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.